Before I had my first child, Elijah, which he is going to be 11 years old, this coming up in a couple months in May. Before I had him, I thought I was a pretty good person. And then I had my first baby, and I was the kind of girl who played dolls. I wanted a baby so bad, right? And I just had this image in my head of what it was going to be. And I thought that I was a good person, and until I had him, because then, a crying baby, which he was colicky and up all night, he showed me my need for Christ. And I remember just feeling so awful and just being like, wow, like I'm not where I thought I was, and God, I'm so sorry, and all of this. And I remember God saying something to me. He said, Danielle, I am in the business of saving, and I will save you every single day if you let me. And, children, they really refine you in the fire. They bring out your need for Christ, and God has been saving me every day since. Today, I'm going to share with you my personal parenting journey and what brought me from a newbie to a pro super fast. Now, when I say pro, I'm not saying that I'm perfect at this. Please don't think that. None of us are going to be perfect, right? Like, parenting is this ever evolving thing. And, as our children grow, it's our parenting is going to have to change and evolve. That's kind of where I'm at now. As soon as you get something figured out, then all of a sudden it up and changes, and your kids get more of an identity and they push the boundaries a little more. And that's kind of where I'm at. My kids aren't quite, well, my oldest is almost 11 and my second oldest is going to be 10 in June. But I'm going to share with you what made me a pro super fast. Now, how could that be? I've never been a parent before. So how can I all of a sudden be a pro? My kids are quite young. Also, you can talk to your parents and talk to people that you know and trust and love. And yeah, you can get stories from them, but how do you even know if they're doing it 100% right? And do they really know what they're doing? I mean, so the information we do have to filter as we get it. So how can I say that? How can I say that I went from a newbie to a pro fast? This will, I believe, transform your parenting as it did mine. And I do want to say that it did transform my parenting. Like, all of a sudden I didn't know what to do, and then I knew what to do. And yes, it was all faith still, because I'd never done it before and I didn't know if I'd get results. But then little by little, I began seeing results. I began looking at God as the ultimate parent. Okay, he's the first parent. If you're a Christian and you're a Bible believer, we believe the Bible, right? Now, we read it, we know that it's all been inspired by God, but could we have forgotten perhaps that God is a parent? He's the first parent. And I can actually look at every scenario with him and how he dealt with his children, his creation, all who were all adults, but they're still the children of God. And so I was like, okay, well, God is a parent and he has children. So I'm going to look at God. And I tell you, this has transformed my parenting. I went from not knowing what to do to all of a sudden I know what to do. And yes, it did take some discernment. But as I began reading and digging into each Bible story, ones that we've heard growing up, I began putting two and two together. Like, I started getting all of this really good parenting advice from these stories, just because I'm looking at God through the lens of being a parent. Now, the reason we can trust it is because, again, as Bible believers, we put our faith in God. We trust God. I mean, he has the final say. At least he should. But that's what we believe, even if we don't act like we believe it. That is what we believe, what we proclaim to believe. And I started seeing results. Now, I mean, I all of a sudden went from not knowing what to do to knowing what to do. And I've even had people look on in my life, like my mom, for example. She's a lot older than me. She's retired. She's had four of us. And, I'm in a different place spiritually than she was when we were growing up. She was a young Christian. And so I'm a second generation Christian, so I am coming from a place of advantage. But she looks on and she's like, where did you learn that? I never raised you that way. And it's like, Mom, I learned it from God. Like, God did this to his children, and so I'm going to do it. And it is acting in faith, because our culture doesn't really even do that. Like, Christian culture doesn't really even do that. The most we have from scripture, I mean, we do have a lot from scripture, right? But for parents, we have Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. We have that, but we don't have any clear, like, this is what you do in this situation, and da 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 da. And we don't have that. And so that's all we have. So we train them up in the way they should go, and commandment number 5, honor your father and mother so that your days may be long in the land I'm giving you. We have that. We have a child left to himself will bring his mother shame. So the scripture does speak to parents and to children and all of this. But I found just an enormous amount of information when I opened it up, and I'm like, God, every single story, he's speaking to us, his children. For example, the Garden of Eden. I have a product available. It's in the link in the description. Please go check it out, as well as sign up for my emails as well. That's something new that I just recently added. But the Jumpstart guide, it is based on the Garden of Eden. It's based on what I'm going to talk about. I'll talk a little bit about this here. But so as I came to that realization that, God, you are the first parent, you are the perfect parent. I'm going to search out scripture. And then I was like, oh my goodness, like, the Bible there's so much. And so it's going to take me some time, and it's going to take me years to get this figured out. I'll be further along when I'm 10 years into this. But I knew I am writing a book. That's a side note, but I knew it was going to take a while. I was like, God, I need something fast. Like, I need just a quick blueprint that's going to jumpstart my parenting as I'm seeking you, as I'm following your way for me as a parent in faith, right? This is faith, because, a lot of us don't have adults, parents, people speaking into our lives saying, this is the way to do it. This is exactly the way to do it. How to deal with tantrums and bad attitudes and all of this. Timeouts. I mean, God speaks to all of it. Our kids trying to change our mind. I believe that grounding. I believe, God has even in scripture said, I will not talk about this again. That's very familiar language to us parents. So, but anyway, I was like, God, I need something fast. And so I didn't know where to start. So I started at the beginning. And it turns out, in my opinion, the Garden of Eden is our Jumpstart guide, which I do have everything in that product below. Go check it out. But I will talk a little bit about it here. God, he put Adam in the garden to cultivate it and to manage it. He didn't just put Adam in the garden and say, okay, here you go, bam, enjoy it. No, like, he had a job to manage and to cultivate. And so I took that. I was like, okay, you know what? My kids, Elijah, Elizabeth, Hannah, Sarah, Noah, now Simon, he's just a little guy. But you're not just here to enjoy everything that I give you. You're here to manage and to cultivate. And so in every situation that I put my kids, every garden, I've broken it down in this book to we can break our kids' day into different gardens. You were in this garden to manage and to cultivate. And this is just an example, but go check out that book if it sounds really intriguing to you, like I've never heard anything like this before. This will jumpstart your journey, like give it some life as you're pursuing God's way in your parenting journey. As a parent, it will jumpstart it. But what are some other examples of God just immediately speaking to us as parents? Like, we can look at God the Father, right? Okay, so here's another really good example. Cain, why is your face so downcast? Why are you angry? What are the exact words? I don't have my Bible right in front of me, but it's why is your face so downcast? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you need to master it. So God is giving us a clue. What do we look for? We look for a downcast face. And that is, it's an outward reflection of something's going on. And so, a lot of times we're like, as parents, we're like, I mean, we would never say this, but I think that this is actually what we think. We kind of want our kids to behave so that our lives are better. I mean, that's like the raw truth. We do want to glorify God and do all this other stuff too, right? I'm not saying that we don't, that our heart's not right, but a lot of times we can be kind of selfish, and we want our kids to listen so that they make our lives better. But to be honest, as I've been searching scripture, I see that laziness is not allowed in my life as a parent. Like, if 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 God said, Cain, why is your face so downcast? That means that me as a parent, I need to be paying attention to my children. I need to be looking, now, I mean, looking for that sign, right, of that heart attitude. And then once I get that heart attitude and I find out that something is not right, then I need to deal with it. So actually, it's going to require even more of me. God is God, but we are finite humans, right? I mean, is there injustice going on? Is that why there's a downcast face? Or is it a heart attitude? Are you angry at me? Like, one time I remember Elijah was walking around with a pouty look on his face, and I called him out on it, and I was like, why, what's the matter? And turns out he was mad at me for how I was choosing to handle something. And it's like, look at Cain. Cain had an anger problem. He was mad that Abel gave a good gift and he didn't, and he was mad at God and mad at his brother. And then he all of that. And so anger, we need to deal with that. So it was the disposition that gave him away. So then I'm on to him. So then I need to investigate. And then we worked it out. Now, one time I was mowing the lawn, and my daughter Elizabeth was outside running around, and I'm watching all the kids, as I mow. I love to mow. And I noticed that she had a downcast face. And so I stopped the mower and to get to the bottom of it. Do you see, we don't get off the hook as parents. We're not all knowing like God that we can just do that. And so I'm getting to the bottom of it, and it turned, she told me, well, Mom, you told me not to tattle, because that's something that, us parents don't really like. And I've gotten onto this through the story of Joseph. There's a time to tattle, and there's a time to just not tattle, and all of that. God speaks to that too. But so I'm like trying to get to the bottom of it. I'm glad she didn't tattle, but then I need to be looking for that downcast face, because it might be injustice. And in this situation, it was injustice. It was Hannah was being a pill, being mean, whatever. And so then I have to go deal with the injustice. But the disposition gave it away. For example, when he was talking to Cain, if you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you don't do what is right, sin is crouching at your door, and it desires to have you, but you need to master over it. That tells me that there's acceptable behavior and there's unacceptable behavior, and those need to be outlined. Like when God put Adam in the garden, there was boundaries. God put boundaries, and we need to make it clear what our directions are. We need to make it clear for us and clear for our children, so that it's kind of a black and white. We know where the line is because we told them, and we know it too. To train up a child in the way he should go, God has given us way more as parents than we previously ever thought. Like, God is the ultimate father. And this has made me go from not knowing what I've been doing to all of a sudden I feel like, yes, I'm in this body, I'm fallen, I'm not God, but it's given me more of a grip on how to train up my child in the way he should go, because God has given a blueprint all throughout scripture. Another really, really great example that I love to give is with Sodom and Gomorrah. One second, my little boy wants to get up. Noah, no, stay down there. Noah? Is Hannah watching a movie? All right, go into Daddy's room and you can color with her. Did you sleep? Okay, go do that. Sorry for that. I might cut that out. I might not. Noah, what? Let me see you. Yeah, you look like you slept. Tell them that mommy said you could get up and to let you color. Okay? Now, tell her not to come up here because I'm working on a video. Okay?
Okay, I would tell her that to not come upstairs. Mom's taking a video, and mom said I could get up, and mom said I could color.
Okay, sounds good. And please don't fight down there, okay? He asked me if I wanted to look at him to see if he'd been sleeping, and he did. But isn't that cute? That's so cute. I may or may not cut that from this video. But with Sodom and Gomorrah, God actually said, I will go down to see if the outcry is true. Now, why would God need to go down to see if the outcry is true? He's God. He doesn't need to go down. Look at Noah. When God, before he sent the flood, he didn't go down to see if the outcry was true. He just knew that the whole earth was fallen, right? And so God went down to see if the outcry was true. Now, God is God. He's all-knowing. He didn't need to go down. So how much more do I need to go down to investigate to see if the outcry is true? Like for example, here's a really good example. If there's fighting going on in my basement where the kids all hang out, then I need to go down and investigate. But oftentimes I am selfish and I don't want to go down, but the Bible speaks to that too, where there is selfish ambition, there will be, there'll be vile practices and all of this. So it's a calling to me. I cannot be complacent. I need to go down. And I'm not saying that we're going to have to go down forever. I don't even know what that's going to look like, right? This is all in my book, The Ancient Path to Parenting, that I'm writing. But the Jumpstart guide is down below, and that contains the Garden of Eden. That will give life to your life with your children right now as you're waiting for my book or as you're searching for God. Don't quit searching God. But I am saying that I am working on the Ancient Path to Parenting that has all these little stories in it. But God went down, and he leads by example. So maybe sometimes, looking at Noah, we don't need to go down because we know that there's an injustice, there's wrongdoing, there's evil, we can know as parents what's going on. So or at other times, maybe we do go down and investigate, as with Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not just a one size fits all. And again, our calling as parents is so connected to our calling as wives. Many of us are married. We have husbands, we're Christian families, we go to church every Sunday and all of this, but what does God say to wives? It says, wives, submit yourself to your husbands as unto the Lord. To your own husbands, as unto the Lord. Your own husband speaks to uniqueness, and so each family is going to be custom. It's not one size fits all. And the thing is too, is God didn't go down with Noah. God went down with Sodom and Gomorrah. Maybe this is just a complete reliance on God. We need God every single day. We would just love a formula, right? And say, plug it in, plug and play. We just want to know what to do. It's the same all the way across the board. And it's not that way. Maybe we need God every single day, which is true, right? And then as we come alongside our husbands and we follow that uniqueness, I want to pronunciate, as we follow that, into parenting, then it follows the custom make of our husbands. So I went from newbie to pro super fast. I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. But this is the thing. Perfection is not required here. Okay, God is perfect. He's supreme. He's just, we are not like God, right? Isaiah 55, 8-9, his ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts, but we are not God. We are a representative of God to our children when they're young, I believe, but we are not God. But this is the thing. Perfection is not what is required of us. It is a diligent heart. It is not giving up. It is, scripture, it says he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. It is not, I'm a rewarder of those who do the programmed perfectly, who never raise their voice, who never make mistakes, who never have made a mess out of their mornings with their children or whatever, like it doesn't say that. It says, I'm a rewarder of those who diligently seek me. And so it's like we just keep seeking him. Every single day is a new day. We just keep seeking him. God, what do you want to teach me today as a parent? Like, and you know what? The life of Jesus is so intimately involved here too. I'm working on a product based on relationships that I will link in the description below in my store. But just like Jesus really emphasizes how God wanted relationship with us, his creation. He didn't just create us to exist, God. He created us to be in relationship with him. So for us, we had our children. Why? Just to like enjoy being like a mom and have babies and all this. Not that we didn't enjoy those things. I mean, I definitely did. But now my kids are getting older. I still have one more baby. But, you know, I'm able to have more of a relationship with my kids now that they're getting older. Maybe you too. And it's like we had our children to have relationships. Like they're going to grow up, have kids, and we're going to have grandchildren and great grandchildren and all this. It's all for relationship. And so then God sent Jesus into the world because it was broken, and he wanted to fix it so that we could be in relationship with him. But I am telling you, Mom, how to do it. If you want to go from not knowing what to do to all of a sudden, I know how to train up my child, and I know not with certainty because everyone else is doing it, with certainty because God the Father did it. I tell you, dig into scripture and start looking at God as a parent in every single story that you read, and it will just come alive to you. If you've gotten one or two things out of this video today, consider liking and subscribing. Leave me a comment below so we can connect. And until next time, bye for now.